Hey, good morning. This is the Redeeming Real Estate Podcast. I'm BJ Armstrong. I have a really special privilege this morning. I'm sitting with Cameron Mosher, right? And Cameron is among our newest agents at Keller Williams. When did you officially sign up with us?
After the new year, so I want to say maybe second week of January.
So January sometime.
Right.
So that's
right.
So today is April 28th or 29th
right.
or something. So essentially that's pretty quick. And you've been in the business now for almost 5 months.
Right.
So I want to rewind a little bit with you because there's probably some people listening to this morning that have either aspirations of selling real estate, or maybe they're in a process of getting their license, or maybe they've been in the business for a year or two and they're just trying to make some sense of things. But we'll get to it. There's some reasons that I have you sitting in this chair today.
Yeah.
But so talk me through. Give me a little bit of a background. Tell me about where you're from and how did you land on real estate as something you wanted to do?
Oh, that's a long story. I have a really eclectic resume, so it was a long road getting here. I've always had an interest in real estate. I bought my first home really young.
Did you use a realtor?
I did use a realtor.
Okay, good.
I did use a realtor, and it was a good friend. But I think I actually got an interest in this through horseback riding. I also teach horseback riding, and I've been involved in equestrian sports most of my life. And I always had access through friends and people I was riding with to these amazing homes, not unlike this one here.
Right.
And so I got to see all of that, and always just had a curiosity about properties and how people decorate and how custom homes and things like that. So it's really just been growing ever since. And I just thought this would be a great opportunity to do what I wanted to do and put in as much work as I wanted and reap the rewards of that.
Right.
Whereas with, the traditional careers or the hourly jobs, you're getting paid 8 to 5 or 9 to 5, and then that's it.
So I want to translate that a little bit, right? Because what I'm hearing is time and money. And I don't want to make that sound like, hey, I'm worried about being greedy or anything, but it's about the freedom of time.
Right.
That's
absolutely.
a very common thing with real estate and money, because it can be a very lucrative, it's rewarding.
Right, absolutely. So the more time that you put in, the more effort that you put in, the more you're going to reap the reward of that.
Absolutely.
Whereas with a salary job, you can put in a lot of time and a lot of effort and not necessarily be rewarded.
Absolutely. And it's a whole lot of fun because you get to go see all these super cool properties.
Right, all these cool properties, and I get to work with people. I've been in jobs where I've had a desk job and didn't make a lot of contact with other humans all day, and I didn't like that. I like being a people person. I like being out and about. I don't want to be sedentary at a desk, and this job is definitely not that.
Never the same minute twice, is it?
Right.
Okay, so you got the bug somewhere, and tell me about what was next. You decided at some point either to go online or to enroll in a school.
Right. And a friend of mine had actually taken the course at KW.
Oh, with ours.
And so I've always liked the idea of having an appointment. If I have an appointment, I'm going to go to it.
Right.
So just like some people feel that way with working out. If I have a scheduled class I have to be to at the gym, I'm more likely to go. So having a scheduled class was really what I wanted.
We call that accountability, by the way.
Absolutely. Yeah, I wanted that. And same thing with school. I always said if I could be a professional student, I would do that. So I love learning. Right. So I thought, hey, I might as well do this. I'm going to learn a whole lot, and I'm going to have that scheduled time to be there. Yeah. So that was what drew me to doing the 90-hour course.
Gotcha.
In person.
And so you did that at the Illinois Real Estate. Our school is ilree.com, right? So that's somehow you got in there and you signed up for that. There's a new class starting May 9th, by the way, so which is like next week.
Yeah, you should do it.
Yeah, just in case. But okay, so somehow you got signed up for that. Tell me about the class. I mean, was it horrible? Because it sounds like going to class isn't all that much fun.
It was not horrible.
Okay.
I think not that we haven't had other great groups, because I've met a lot of the people from the courses that have come in, but I also just had a class with a really great group. So I made friends. There's people I still talk to from that course, and it hasn't been a long time since I've been in that course, but it started last August. Right. So these are people that I'm still in touch with now, and
you do spend a lot of time together and develop a bond.
Right.
That way,
yeah, you learn about people's families and what they're doing, why they're getting involved in real estate, and what their motivations were. And it was it was enjoyable. Like
Right.
it wasn't, a hardship to have to take that time out of my day to go there. It is a commitment that you have to make. It's 3 hours, 3 times a week.
Without a doubt, it's a commitment. Yeah,
it's a commitment, but
it was
fun.
What's the thing that really sticks out? Do you have a mountaintop experience that you go, hey, that was awesome in the class?
Oh, I don't
Or
know.
or just the mountaintop might be strong. Is there a side of the mountain that you said, hey, this was a cool part?
I think once we got to the halfway point, I was like, okay,
Yeah.
the material is sinking in. Again, we've established those relationships with people in the class, and it was just fun. I was having fun, and we were all kind of talking at that point. Oh, are you going to sign up for your exam, and what are you going to do after this? And so we were kind of already thinking about that next step, which was exciting.
So speaking of which, so tell me about the exam, because at some point you pass the class and it's time to keep moving.
Right.
How scary was that?
I don't know. I guess I felt more nervous for the class exam than I did for the state
Really?
exam.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why. But I guess maybe just because that was the first official step, and then it's like, all right, I'm on this road, I'm committed,
Right.
we got to do it.
Right.
But so once I passed the class exam, I signed up for the state exam, and
Did you do that right away?
I did do it
Because the
right
advice
away.
always is, right, hey, you take the class and just get it scheduled
I
immediately.
did do it right away, which was a little tough because it was right before the holidays, but I didn't want to have that hanging over my head
right.
for the holidays, and I wanted, I guess, a little extra thing to celebrate about. And so I took the exam right away, but Nick was a great instructor. He really prepared us very, very well. And I also got Exam Smart, which is a program online that's different questions that are very similar to what you're going to see on the exam, and you can actually take practice exams, so very similar process, and that made it much easier.
When you look back on that experience of class, or even from the day that you started thinking about, hey, real estate sounds like a cool career, to the day that you got your license, do you see something in there you say, hey, I wish we would have done this different? Or, right, somebody that's out there thinking about it, what would you tell them?
Maybe I would have moved a little faster about thinking about what I wanted to do after. But actually, we talk about at KW, what's the one thing I can do this week so to make next week easier, or this month easier, or that kind of thing. And I was very focused on one thing at a time. I was like, I'm going to do just the class.
That's a good thing.
Then I'm going to do the class exam, then the state exam. But other people were more goal-oriented more quickly than I was.
Gotcha.
They were, okay, I got to figure out where I'm going to join. I want to, interview here and there and find out, what their policies are and all of those things. And I wasn't even focused on that yet. I was very one-track minded towards finishing the class and the exams.
Well, it worked for you, and
Yeah.
and I get where different people's styles would do that.
Right.
But what you did absolutely worked. So.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so now you got your license in hand. Mm-hmm. What's next? I mean, how do you go, okay, this is what I'm going to do?
Well, I paused for probably 2 weeks because it was the holidays and nobody was even around.
Right.
It's not like I could get into an office and really meet with anyone or talk with anyone. So I kind of had a little lull there for a couple weeks, and then I talked with Nick, actually. I sat down and had coffee with Nick and asked him about KW, and he's been at other brokerages, and talked with him about other brokerages and what questions, I didn't even know what questions I should be asking.
And they don't really teach you that in class, right?
Right.
You don't get that kind of,
Right.
it's the law curriculum.
It's the meat, of it. The license law and, laws dealing with your clients and customers and things like that. So I sat down with him and said, when I do meet with brokerages or I meet with team leaders, what are the questions I should be asking?
Yeah, right.
And wrote all those down so that I came into those meetings prepared.
Is there one question that sticks out in your mind that you go, hey, this was the one this was the clincher question that once that was answered, it worked?
Not really one way or another. I mean, obviously, commission was a concern. How are those things going to be split up?
How much are you going to take from me?
Right, exactly.
That's fair.
Another thing was, if I do decide to do this and it doesn't work out, what happens with my Sphere contacts? Are those still my contacts, or things like that?
So there's going to be a whole bunch of people listening to this that have no idea what that means, right? But so when we talk about Sphere, we're really talking about the group of people that I know that now know I'm in real estate. And what companies will do, brokerage offices will do, is they'll say, hey, give us all those names and their email addresses, and we'll take care of them for you.
Right.
And they might do that, and they might
And they might
and
not.
And then borrow a couple.
Right. And they might say that's your sphere. Anyone that comes in from there is you're going to work with. And I didn't realize how big of a factor that was going to be. Yeah. You don't know how many people you know until you really start thinking about it in this business. And then you go, oh, maybe I do have a big network.
At what point did you start thinking about sphere? So that word showed up for you. Did that show up in license class or did that show up after?
I think probably after. Okay. I think I hadn't really thought about it as much as I should until I took Ignite with KW.
Yeah.
And that really drove it home of how important, because you don't think of your friends as being your network. They're just your friends and your family, but they all want to help you.
Right. And I don't know if you thought about this when you were getting your license, but you've just become a salesperson.
Right.
Right. So a lot of people, I think, go through real estate classes and don't ever realize that it's sales.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. And I didn't think about that as much as it is involved.
Right.
So.
All right. So you decided what office and everything. You're unique because you also joined a team.
Right.
Right. So talk to me about team. Specifically, I want to know why was that important to you or beneficial?
So I hadn't worked on what I would think is a functional, good team as far as a career environment in a long time. Mm-hmm. And I really wanted that. I wanted the support of somebody who's been in the business longer than me, right. And I wanted somebody to go to for advice. What do I do here? Every transaction's different, and I've learned that very quickly. And so I wanted somebody who had been through those experiences that I could go to for guidance. Sure. And not that you wouldn't get that as a single agent, mm-hmm. but I just really wanted like a mentor, I guess.
Absolutely.
So that was why I wanted to join a team right away. And it has absolutely been that. I've had great support, so it's been great.
And you would have, I would say you've had great success. When I look at your first,
Thank you.
When I look at your first performance in the business, you've closed something like 6 transactions. That's a big number. And what I want to know partly is that because of the team or is that because of Cameron?
My very first sale was someone from my sphere, but definitely being with a team. It's really, you're like launched into everything. Your team's going to help you with leads and things like that. So it's definitely been attributed to
Jack Baytall is your team. So right. It is, I think it is important because I think he does an excellent job of fostering a team and fostering that team environment.
Absolutely.
Of all the teams out there, he does a great job of it.
Absolutely.
What's been so you launched out there in January mm-hmm. with Jack.
Right.
What was your biggest surprise? What didn't you expect?
I didn't expect how many different roles a realtor plays. You're not just going shopping with somebody. That is not what we do. Right. You're a problem solver, you're a detective, you're a friend to them and a mentor to them through the process, because for a first-time home buyer, they don't know what's involved. Absolutely. Or even for somebody who hasn't purchased in years, everything has changed. Things have changed. So I didn't realize all these different hats that I was going to have to wear.
Right.
Yeah.
And don't you? Maybe you don't find this, but I do. At some point, I start walking through the house with clients. I don't even look anymore at how beautiful it is. So one of the reasons you got in the business is to see all these awesome houses. Right. I see them, but I'm looking at other things while the customer's looking at how beautiful it is. I'm looking at, okay, what are the problems we're going to run into?
Right, absolutely. And not every home that we show is a nice brand new home like this too. So we're looking at older homes, mm-hmm. smaller homes, investment properties, and so those come with a lot of challenges.
And you, among all the people, I think that have had their license for a short period of time, have had your share of challenges.
Oh yeah.
So you found some really unique properties that have some really unique situations.
Yes.
Right? What would be your advice, without getting into detail about what those specifics are, but what would be your advice to an agent? I mean, honestly, my observation has been you've been extremely resourceful in finding solutions to those. How do you get that? Is that something that you just have, or is that?
Well, I have the ability to go back to those mentors, especially on my team, for guidance and help. But also just, you have to think outside the box. Right. Not every transaction is going to go super smooth and right to close, and you have to use those contacts that you have with lenders or just with the other agent, whatever you can do to try and solve the problem. Right. You have to be a problem solver.
There's no doubt.
Right.
There's no doubt. And if you're not, Jack would become the problem solver, and and that changes your team dynamic again. Mm-hmm. probably your success rate a little bit.
Yeah.
So one last piece of advice that you would give somebody that's either just thinking about it in the class or maybe been in the business for 6 months or 2 years or something and not getting the results? Because I'm assuming you have some pretty good big goals for the year.
I do. Yeah. I haven't set, oh, this is so bad, but I haven't set a specific number yet. Okay. I wanted to see how these first couple months went. And obviously now everything's getting really ramped up with the warm weather and the summer coming. And yeah, so I need to, I think my initial goal I set for myself, I kind of want to bump it up a little bit.
That's awesome.
Push myself.
That's awesome. Have you found a life balance struggle yet?
I haven't really had too much of that. So like I said, I have a really eclectic resume and my jobs are kind of all over the place, and I do teach horseback riding. So I've kind of had my schedule here and there.
You still have time to ride whenever you want?
I still have time to do that. Yeah. Awesome. So there definitely is a balance to it.
So has the time and the money thing come true yet? I mean, again, it's 4 months into the business. It's very early in any kind of a career.
Right.
Has that come true for you? I mean, has that?
I mean, not yet. So I have all these closings scheduled and lined up, and that's one of the things that I think I didn't really think about in class either. And not that Nick didn't say it, because I will give him credit. He's, you know, every day you wake up, if you don't have anything in the pipeline, you're 60 days out from a paycheck, and that's if you sell something that day. Wouldn't that be great? Yes. So fingers crossed. But yeah, so I'm still getting used to that.
Yeah.
But it is exciting looking forward.
It's great. Well, you've done an excellent job. I think I skipped the whole advice conversation.
My piece of advice would be just do it. Just do whatever it is to get you to the next step. If you're just thinking about it isn't ever going to get you anywhere. Take the class. It is going to be mostly the meat of it, the license law, but you are still going to learn a lot about the job and whether or not it's for you. And so if you just take the class and decide it's not for you, well, then you don't have to go forward. But if you take the class and you like it, just keep chipping away at it and you'll get there. Yeah,
you're right. I mean, how many things in our lives do we sit on this? Right. You just ride the fence and you go, well, I'll decide tomorrow, right? And you keep riding the fence and nothing ever happens.
And if you never start, how are you going to get
Or even if you say no, right? So you either get to choose yes or no, but move on with your life and go do something else. I think that's
absolutely. And we got a class starting. What'd you say?
May? Good advice for me, by the way.
May what?
May 9th. The next class starts. Yeah, I mean, literally, ILREE.com is the website. And Nick Batsiris, again, is the teacher. He has an absolutely astonishing success rate of the new agents. Your class, 14 agents that came to Keller Williams. Of those 14, I think we've had 13 or 14 have a transaction, and several of you have 5 or more transactions. Right. So it's honestly an incredible success group. Yeah, that's part of the reason why you're sitting here today, because I just think you guys are awesome. So
it's fun.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Just do it. Right? See, comes from Cameron that way. So this has been Redeeming Real Estate. I'm glad you joined us. If you do have some interest in our school, please contact us immediately. ILREE.com. You can call Nick Batsiris. You can find him on the web if you Google that. Good luck spelling that last name. I can't even do it by memory. Call our office, 309-834-3400, and they'll get you pointed in the right direction. If you like this, please like it on Facebook, share it with your friends, do all of those things so that we can reach as many people as possible. But thanks again for joining us.